I do think Kyrie's not a bona fide leader. I think that's what the majority of people can agree with. But he can hold his own at times. It's been a lot of times. I mean, even you could go talk about, obviously every team has a leader. You could talk about the 2018 Celtics. I mean, there could be a part where you could argue he wasn't the leader, but there's also a part where you could argue he was. He did start them off with a 16-game win streak earlier in that season. But then what led to people saying that he probably wasn't the leader of that team ends up going down with an injury, and they end up continuing the streak, man. Their 16, 17-game win streak continues to go on with a rookie Jason Tatum and a sophomore Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart and all these guys, and it continues to go on. And he comes back, and the first game he comes back, they end up losing. So that's one reason I could talk about that, but this is a different Kyrie Irving is what I'm trying to get into. This is not the same one. I don't think he was practicing a lot as much. His mental health was actually, all over the place, especially losing his grandfather. So I can understand this is a much different Kyrie Irving. I can also talk about the time later on the next year where he failed as the leader of the Celtics in the playoffs when without him, the year before they went to the ECF, was one game away from going to the finals, and they challenged LeBron and Kevin Love to 7 games. So, I could talk about that, but, this is a whole different Kyrie Irving. And like I said, I don't look at him as a leader, but I think it is time for him to step up. I mean, he's gotten high praise. You guys killed me over saying there was 10 other guards better than him. So I would really hope, and he's number one in East voting guards. So I would really hope that Kyrie Irving can take on this approach and lead his team. And I mean, he had Stephen A in the beginning of the year saying he's going to be an MVP candidate. So I really do want Kyrie Irving to take this approach and show people he can be a leader, being that this is a different Kyrie Irving and being that he's playing very good. So Eli, that's all I really got to say about it. You can say what you got to say.
Kyrie hasn't had a season where he's been very impactful since, I want to say,
probably
2019 or 2018.
Yeah.
His first year in Boston and second year in Boston. And then when he left Boston, we know how he exited. He got destroyed by Giannis after being up 2-0. And if that's not very telling to how valuable he was in that series alone, besides the 2 games, it's like, come on.
I believe. Sorry to cut you off, but I believe too they beat the Bucks either the year before or the year before that in 2017 without Kyrie. So that's that's that. So
that's a good point. But I'm talking about for the most part.
Kyrie,
Kyrie hasn't really been valuable. He hasn't been. He's a great player. Don't get me wrong. Having him on your team is a plus, but he's not an impactful player. Like, I look at Kyrie as a guy like, okay, say, for example, he goes out there and he scores 40. You're not going to win by 20. You're not going to win by 10. He's not that type of impactful player. It might be a crunch time game every time with Kyrie Irving. He's not a guy that if he scores 25 to 30 points, it's not going to be an impactful 25 or 30 to me. Just how I look at him. It's not going to be impactful, but this is his time to shine. Katie will be out for the next 2 weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Next 2 weeks coming up. So this is his time to shine. And if the team goes under Kyrie's leadership, we know his leadership skills aren't that good, but what he can at least do is show his value. He has plenty of time to do that while KD's going. If he doesn't do it, then we know what it is. It just is what it is at this point. And that's all I got to say, bro.
Just adding a few more things onto that. Yeah, that's something that I probably, I didn't realize to say, but it is true. I can agree on because, I mean, just thinking about the 2015-16 game against the Spurs when Kyrie had his career high. Before last season, 57 points. The shit was close, it was a very close game. It came down to a buzzer beater. So that's that. And then, I mean, people can also talk about the times in Cleveland before LeBron James, his first 3-4 years. But then again, he was a younger player. But we didn't see other players lead their team at a young age, So, like I said, I just hope he can prove people wrong. I mean, last year he didn't do it. They end up dropping down the 8th seed until KD came back last year, where he missed 6 weeks, which was about a total of, I think about 12 to 15 games, 16 games, and they went on a terrible losing streak. And then when he came back, they couldn't even, get it back going on. So, yeah, man. I mean, I hope Kyrie figures it out, man. He's a extravagant player, very good player, having a good season as well. Pretty good season. So I hope they can figure that out over there with him as their leader.